All right, so today we are going to be talking about trim notices. Trim notices stands for truth in millage, and it deals with property taxes here in the state of Florida. And these notices go out in the fall time frame, giving a quick breakdown on what has changed, what might change, and proposed budget changes for your property taxes. We're also going to be going over new changes to the amount of homestead exemption, which was recently changed here in 2025. And this is a quick deep dive where I'm going to help simplify everything on this form so that you, as either a homeowner or a home buyer, can fully understand what a property tax bill entails and what it looks like. Now, real important notice, a trim notice is not a tax bill. Trim notice is a notice of proposed taxes for this coming year. So let's go ahead and jump in here to a trim notice. All right, now this is a real trim notice, but I've deleted all the information for whose property it is. But this is a real trim notice for a Seminole County property. Now, this property is not located within a city inside of Seminole County for taxing districts, but just the county itself. So if you have a property that's located within the city, you might have some additional line items on there. This is a simple bill that we're going to be going through to help understand. And if you get today's bill or today's trim notice, you can easily apply it to a city property. We're not going to be starting at the top. We're actually going to be starting here towards the middle of the first page. So in all, there's 2 pages, but we're going to be starting at the middle. A trim notice is really going to identify any changes in assessed value and changes in market value. So there's 2 major differences there. Market value is according to what the county thinks your property would sell for. This is not what your property would actually sell for on the open market. This is just a blanket price that they put up there. Assessed value is going to be what they tax your property at. So taxes are based on assessed value, not market value. Assessed value includes discounts such as homestead exemption, senior, disability, veterans, and more. So assessed value, oftentimes, if you're a homesteaded primary homeowner on a primary occupied property, assessed value is oftentimes going to be significantly lower than market value. So as an example in this one, in 2024, market value was $282, and in 2025, market value is $324,000. Since this property is homesteaded, the assessed value does not change that much. And the homestead exemption, which is identified up here at the top, that this homeowner has homesteaded the property, homestead exemption gives you a huge discount compared to the market value. Now, this discount grows over time. And a homestead exemption, the assessed value can either grow at a maximum of 3% each year, or it can grow at a maximum of the CPI index rate, which think of like inflation rate, whichever number is lower. So if the inflation rate is 1%, your assessed value can only go up 1%. If the inflation rate is 5%, then the max is 3% increase for the assessed value. All right, I know that's a lot of numbers there, but let's go into assessed value. So this one, assessed value last year was almost $100,000 less than the market value. So they paid taxes based on $100,000 less than market value because of that homestead exemption. Current year, it is proposed to go up almost $42,000 in market value. However, as you notice, it only goes up roughly $6,000 in assessed value. And that's roughly that almost 3% capped assessed increase rate. So assessed value can only go up 3% year over year. And you're seeing that roughly right here in these numbers. All right. Now, the next item below this that we're going to go into, this shows you the amount of homestead savings that you have built up over a period of time. If you're a brand new homeowner, or if you're a investment property homeowner, this number will be much lower. If this is not a primary home for you, these numbers will be 0 right here in the homestead line. All right, so that number will be 0. If you're a primary homeowner, you're gonna see some numbers there. If you've got agricultural discounts, senior discounts, disability discounts, anything like that, veteran discounts, you'll see some additional benefits here in the exemptions, but for this one, it's just homestead. Last year, the homestead benefit was nearly $93,560. This year, the homestead benefit is almost $130,000. So it really saves to have homestead on your property. Now that you've understood what market value is and what assessed value is, let's go see how these are actually applied to different taxes. Now here we're jumping up to the top column, and I want to point out one thing before we do this. This is talking about total ad valorem property taxes. Ad valorem means according to property value. So this is based on your property value. There could be additional taxes on your tax bill that are non-ad valorem. So you'll see ad valorem right here and non-ad valorem on your actual tax bill. Non-ad valorem, think of like street services such as light, think of waste management services and maybe fire district management services. And those are taxed at a flat rate to individual property owners across a certain area. So everybody splits that bill equally. But for ad valorem taxes, these bills come based on the property value. So your values might be a little bit different than your neighbor's values. Now, this is going to break down a few different items, and it's going to compare 2024 to 2025. All right, so first column here, in 2024, this was the taxable value. All right, so for the county, that's 138,000. Now you might be wondering, how in the world is it 138,000, but the 138,000, but the taxable value was 188,000. That's because of a $50,000 total homestead exemption here identified in the bottom chart. Now, if you go up to the 2025, you're going to see a big difference here. Or well, it's a small one, but it's a new change. They increased the amount of homestead exemption that you can get, and they adjusted it for the CPI rate. So if the CPI rate is a certain amount, you can increase the amount of exemption based on that. All right, so this year, instead of being capped at $50,000, it actually went up to $50,722. And that'll likely increase each year as inflation keeps going up or inflation rates are above zero. So this will continue to grow. All right, so you'll notice that the county got a full $50,000 reduction last year. This year, it is getting a full $50,722 reduction here. But for some of these other items, like the school boards and school state law, these only get a $25,000 reduction. So that's the first part of homestead. All right, so that's where that comes from. Down here it says first homestead, which is all taxes at $25,000, and then additional homestead, which is non-school taxes. All right, the first one, $25,000 for every exemption. Additional for non-school gets the additional $25,000. That's why you see different numbers here in column 1. Now, column 2 stands for the rate. This is the millage rate, and this is what the trim notice stands for, truth in millage. All right, so the millage rate for each of these local taxable sources is identified here, and then they multiply the millage rate by the value to get the total taxes here in the right column. So this was for 2024, and then in 2025, this is what it's going to be if no adjustments are made. So there's a proposed adjustment here on the far right, and if that gets passed, this is what the taxes will be. If it gets denied, the middle column is going to be what the taxes are. All right, so this is for 2025. All right, 143, 169. We've got the millage rate, what the taxes would be $1937 if the new budget gets declined, and it would be $2,099 if it gets approved. Let's say you were to get this much early on and you watch this video for next year and you know about this next part. This next part is talking about petitions to the homestead value. Let's say you've got a property that you think is worth $275,000 and you get a notice saying that, hey, the market value is $325,000 according to the county. You can petition that, but you must have petitions in by a certain date. So unfortunately for 2025, petition dates have already passed for almost all property appraisers, all different counties in Florida. But next year you can go ahead and petition that if you think it's incorrect. If you would like to make your voice heard, if you would like to hear why the budget might be changing as proposed up here, you can also go to the second page of this trim notice and view all the different areas where they're going to be talking about these budget meetings. So it gives you the location, time, and date, plus contact information to reach out for more information. All right, I hope this was really valuable for you. I know it's a boring concept, but it's an important concept. So if you would like to know more information or help break down your tax bill, let's go ahead and give me a call. Phone number on the screen. If you're looking to move here into the area, we'd love to help you out as well. Phone number and contact information is here on the screen, and we'll see you on the next video.